Oh my God. Morning Joe and the Pro with two total schmoes. Red card is in effect for both of you guys. Teddy Covers and Marco D'Angelo. Nice shirt, Marco.
Hey, what's happening? Hey, I know you're excited to have Teddy and I on. Did you hit the record button? Because I know you get excited. And
it's been 2 months, you bum. Marco, so you understand the way the red card works. If you piss me off, you get a red card. If you get 3, you need to remain on the show, but you are not allowed to speak. Teddy, same
how
rules
many red
apply.
cards does it take to get banned from the show?
And that's why I love doing a show with Teddy and Marco, the two guys with their same sense of humor, completely annoying. Teddy, what up, brother? You look good. Clean
well, thank
cut.
you, Lawrence. I'd love to say you look good, but I can't really see you in that dark shadow that you have. That's a nice studio you put together in your home.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. You should probably work on the lighting a little bit. Just a little.
Thanks. You're the best.
You look good.
I always look good, Teddy. Before we get into it, we're going to talk NBA Finals today. We're going to do a preview show. But most importantly, I booked my trip to Vegas last night. I fly in at noon on Wednesday, July 12th. Which one of you are picking me up?
Well, seeing how we tape videos Wednesday at noon, that would be neither of us.
Okay. But all three of us.
Or Teddy comes late. Teddy could pick you up and bring you to the studio, and you could do, one of the last videos.
I'm game. Let's do it. All three of us are playing in the seniors event, right?
That's the plan.
Yes.
Over and under. I'm going. Let's put out some lines.
Yeah, really. Let's get. I think "last longer" is the appropriate line here, right?
Well, last longer. It's me. So
no.
That's not what she said.
No.
Oh, my kid is right there, Teddy. Anyway,
yeah.
Here's Teddy. Here's the problem with the last longer. Marco doesn't know how to play poker to win. Marco plays poker to play poker. So he will just sit there and grind his way into a min cash. I don't care to min cash. I'm all or nothing. I actually know how to play poker. So that's a little bit unfair. I would say Marco is odds-on favorite to min cash, and I am odds-on favorite to win it all, and you are odds-on favorite to rail either one of us.
To rail either one of you, meaning I'm taking you out of the tournament?
No, to stand behind us and watch.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't make me the favorite to stand behind anyone and watch, because when I lose, I leave.
Okay.
Of the three of us, Marco, how many World Series of Poker cashes do you have?
I do not have a World Series of
Prez,
Poker.
how many World Series of Poker cashes do you have?
14.
How many World Series of Poker cashes do you really have?
12.
Okay. Is 0 the appropriate number?
Yes.
Okay. So I cashed in this tournament last year, so all y'all can shut up and make me the dog, make me whatever, but I got a cash in a World Series of Poker tournament. Last year in this tournament, y'all were sitting on the rail last year watching me.
What the hell is a y'all?
A y'all is the way that you sometimes talk to multiple people.
You're a Jew from Michigan or New York.
Michigan?
How do you say that from
You're a Jew from New York and you're yawling on us?
I spent 3 summers in Corpus Christi, Texas. My dad lived down in Corpus Christi. I spent 3 summers there, and that's the one thing that stuck is once in a while I say y'all when
y'all.
There's people.
Okay, y'all.
When there's more than one person, I'll say y'all once in a while.
Listeners.
If you're from Pittsburgh, it would be yins.
Okay. Listeners, feel free to put out a line for the three of us. I came second in the Venetian. Last.
No. That was in the Venetian, like in your standard every
Hey,
night.
it was 100 bloody people in it, and you didn't even
Oh
play.
my God, 100
Oh
people?
my God! I final tabled the WPT main event. Hello, my resume is pretty decent.
Hello.
Marco's resume is exceptional in poker. If you're the person playing against him,
This is a 0. This is how many World Series of Poker caches you have. Talk to me when you have 1. Okay? When you have 1, you can start talking trash. Any tournament, any World Series of Poker bracelet event, you make the money, you can start talking all the trash. Yeah, exactly. That's all you got.
yeah, because all that
You don't
matters
have
to
no
you.
caches, my friend. 0. Big fat
Okay,
goose egg.
fine. Let's bet $1,000.
Now I got them all riled up.
Okay.
Now, so first you want them to make lines. Now you want me and you to bet.
Yeah,
Let's
I'll
see
go
what the-
even
let's see the
money
line.
with you.
Let's see what the public says. Let's see who they install the favorite of the three of us to last longer, and we'll go from there.
Well, I think there should be different. I mean, there's a last longer, and then there's a will won't cash.
You know, and then this is the seniors event. There's no rebuys in that, right?
There is
Correct.
rebuys for the first however many hours.
Oh, I
Okay,
don't
see,
think.
Hours,
Johnny-
8 hours, yeah.
I don't
See,
think
Johnny
so.
does-
I'm 100% sure there's a rebuy, at least one.
Hey,
I don't
now
think
you
there's
have to
multiple, but I think
specify
one gets one rebuy.
because when I did the last longer with Johnny, he fires 5 bullets and he says, "I'm still in." I'm like,
Yeah,
no.
that doesn't count.
Yeah, he does it. Yeah.
Okay, let's get to it, boys. NBA preview show, Teddy covers. You find him at sportsmemo.com and wagertalk.com. Marco D'Angelo, my partner and co-founder of the best handicapping website on the planet, wagertalk.com. Yeah, me, the Prez. Some people call me a douche.
I think moron was used too in some comments.
Moron, douche, idiot, very arrogant, narcissistic.
And
Yeah.
they don't even truly know you. They don't realize how spot on they are.
Well, thanks, Marco. I love you. Big announcement coming in the next few days, maybe early next week. Stay tuned for that, everybody. And it is a big announcement. Also, as we've spoken about, I'm going to be building a studio in my house. It'll shut Teddy up. It'll be ready sometime this summer. Boys, let's get to... Oh, and first pitch. Great show today. Drew Martin and Dave Kochen. Check it out. No puck time until tomorrow. Guys, let's get to it. I want to talk series price right off the bat. Golden State Warriors against the Toronto Raptors. Teddy, I know you're not going to bet the series price, minus 300, give or take, for the Golden State Warriors, plus 240, give or take, for the Toronto Raptors. What I want to talk about first, right off the bat, and we'll go to you, Teddy, because I know you want to have Marco speak first, and, well, I want to do everything you don't want to do. Here is what is...
In that case, do my taxes.
Here is what's interesting to me. Milwaukee was the same number that Golden State is. Toronto was plus 240, 250 against Milwaukee. They won in 6. I'm baffled at how Golden State and Milwaukee are the same number. I mean, these two teams are not comparable. Golden State is an iconic team right now. They are so far better than Milwaukee in every way. Rather than talking about who is going to win the series, Teddy, how about talk to me about the line? Why is it like this?
Now, this line shows, number one, why you never want to be betting the chalk in NBA futures at any point until the start of the finals. Because you could have gotten the Warriors at this line to win the title, basically. You know, minus 200, minus 250. Now they're minus $3 all year. That's what Golden State was. The chalk. So it clearly shows how, when you're talking about the favorite, there's no value at all betting on the favorite or one of the co-favorites when it comes to NBA futures. When it comes to the series price, this number is as short as the Milwaukee number was, or comparable to the Milwaukee number was against Toronto, for two reasons. One, Durant and Cousins are most assuredly affecting the power rating for
100%.
Golden State. And I know that the Warriors just dispensed with the Blazers. The markets are viewing Toronto as a heck of a lot better than Portland, and they're saying that this is a series where they might need their two injured all-stars to contribute. The other factor is that they're saying, hey, this Raptors team has been a wise guy favorite all year. We've seen at least some vulnerability from Golden State. We saw Toronto face adversity multiple times in the postseason and come through, which is something that the Raptors team has not done before. Their defensive numbers are spot on. You put all those factors together, you say, yeah, 3-1 dogs, that sounds about right. Hence the line being where it is.
Hence. Marco, would you like to add to Teddy's hence?
Well, it's hard to add to a hence, but I'm going to add to it with, if you really believe in Golden State for the series, I'm going to give you a different way to play this, where for me, if they're going to win the series, and we're looking at probably, they keep listing him as, maybe the next game, maybe the next. I don't think we're going to see Kevin Durant. That's just my opinion. I think this injury is a lot more than they've said it is. I don't think we see him. But what I do think is, if you want to bet Golden State, instead of laying 300 for the series, take Curry to win the MVP. Because if Golden State wins this, they are going, it's, in my opinion, 85 to 90% chance it's going to be Curry that's going to get the MVP. And you can do that at minus 140.
Marco, I love that. Is a really great thought, because, I mean, you're right. There's nobody else that's going to win the MVP. I mean, from my perspective, and please excuse me.
Well, hang on. Let me just jump in for a minute, because who would have won the MVP of their last series?
Steph Curry.
No, Draymond Green would have won the
No
MVP
chance,
last
dude.
series. So don't
Curry averaged close to 37 points a game.
If you actually watch the games, Prez, you'd know what I'm talking about. You
Who
don't watch
watches basketball?
Not you, obviously.
I
watched
every game.
Okay. I'll take the under on how much you watched. Okay. But the point is this. There are other Warriors who are capable of winning an MVP. It's not just Curry. That's all. That was my only point.
Okay.
Curry at minus 140. Sure, I understand the bet. It makes a ton of sense. I like Marco's reasoning. But to say there's no possibility that any other player from Golden State can win this award if they win, it's not true. A different player would have won it in their very last series.
I have a question. I will show ignorance. I've never bet an MVP in my life. So, I mean, that's something I follow. In hockey, they have the Conn Smythe Trophy. That's the MVP. They do that over the playoffs. So there have been.
Okay, this isn't that. They're not doing it over the playoffs.
So Kawhi cannot win it if Golden State wins.
It would be unlikely for Kawhi to win it if Golden State wins. However, Kawhi averages, a triple-double and 40 points a game, and they take him to 7. Kawhi, in theory, a losing player could win, in theory.
Has it happened?
I don't know. Has it ever? I thought it happened once, but I could be mistaken.
It's got to be, like you said, it's got to be an effort beyond belief for it. And you would have to have this go 7 games and lose in the 7th game.
Yes.
Okay, he's Marco, the other guy I forgot, and I'm the Prez. You can find us all at WagerTalk TV, our YouTube channel, every day, Morning Joe and the Pro. I would love nothing more than come this football season to do Morning Joe and the Pro every day, 5 days a week with the two of you. And I know I'm speaking on behalf of everybody when I say that. I don't even want an answer. Marco.
Darn right you don't.
Listen, let me tell you guys. I think this series and the competitiveness of this series comes down to game 1. I think if Toronto can win in game 1, I think we're going to have a long battle. If Toronto loses in game 1, I think this is going at the most 5. especially with the 2-3-2 setup. The key to this entire series rests in game one. And with that said, Marco, I ask you this. Toronto is slightly favored in game one.
It's not a 2-3-2 setup anymore.
Oh, I think they changed it back, Teddy.
Yeah. No, I'm looking right now.
Okay, whatever the case may be.
Golden State, game 5's back in Toronto. Game 6 is back in Golden State. Game 7's back in Toronto. It's 2-2-1-1-1 now.
Good, that's better for the Raptors, and you know I'm cheering for them.
The 2-3-2 was ridiculous. I never was a fan of the 2-3-2 because honestly, I felt the road team had the advantage.
Of course they did.
But the difference is that now if there's a game 7, it's on June 16th, and the conference championship ended in May. So we are talking about extending the season a long, long way for these last 7 games.
TV, money.
Marco, I ask you this question. Toronto to win game 1 and lose the series, plus 225. What do you think?
To win game 1 and lose the series?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, Golden State's got the advantage, but I don't know. I don't have an opinion on that, to be honest with you, because to me, I've got too many questions for game 1. The first question is, we all know the history, and Ralph was tweeting it out over the weekend. We know how bad Toronto is in series in game 1. We know how good Golden State has been to start these series. But the flip side to that is, we've got the rust versus rest. You've got Golden State that's been off for 10 days. Do they come out flat in this game to start? Which has me thinking in just the momentum and the absolute pandemonium that's going to be in Toronto. I mean, you guys are in uncharted water, and you saw the way the city ignited Saturday night. First I thought they were celebrating your birthday. Then I realized Toronto came back and won the game on Saturday. But maybe a first quarter wager on Toronto in this game. Golden State comes out slow. You saw them the entire Portland series get off to slow starts. Portland had the lead into the second half in every one of those games. It was like it was a 4-0 sweep, but it was the closest 4-0 sweep that I've seen. I mean, it wasn't a dominating 4-0 sweep, unless you look at the fourth quarter.
Well, I mean, interestingly enough, it was a 4-0 sweep, I think, in both directions. Portland swept 4-0 in the first half, and Golden State swept 4-0 in the second half.
And they just did a little bit better in the second half to get when it counted. The difference for me in this game, and it was very uncharacteristic for Toronto, and full disclosure, I had a big play on Milwaukee on Saturday.
Yeah, you're an idiot.
Yeah. For 3 quarters, 3.5 quarters, I felt like a genius. Milwaukee choked the game away, and Toronto, uncharacteristically, for the final 2 games of that series, shot the lights out of the ball from 3-point range. They hit 42% in game 5, and they hit 44% in game 6. They made 32 3-pointers in those final 2 games. Their season average was only 36 from the field and 12 made threes. So they really went outside their norm to get the job done. Are they going to do that against this Golden State team if they come to play defense? And we saw Golden State in the Houston series, how good they played defense and shut Houston down to get that one. That's my problem. I just don't see Toronto being able to trade points with Golden State like they did with Milwaukee. For Toronto to win, and you talk about correlated parlays, I think you're going to need these games to be in the under range for Toronto to have their opportunities.
Teddy, Golden State to win game 1 and win the series at plus 110, and also sets up a beautiful hedge if Golden State wins game 1 to come back on Toronto to win the series. You'll get them at plus 340 or something like that. Anything there?
Well, I mean, given the Raptors' repeated game 1 failures, and not just this year, in many recent postseasons, Toronto has had their fair share of problems in game 1. They're the Washington Nationals of the NBA world. Nats, of course, can't win the first game of a series either. The Raptors have had all kinds of problems in this role. And you talk about, well, Golden State, rusty, they've been pretty good with extra rest, actually, in terms of winning. I remember after the All-Star break, they came out sluggish as hell against Sacramento and came out and won that game. Didn't cover the number. But it's a Warriors team that's been here before and a Raptors team that hasn't. And therefore, based on that alone, I'll give the game one edge to Golden State. That and Toronto's playoff failure. So I'm not excited. I'm not excited about a Raptors game one and Golden State series. I'd be more inclined to get a Golden State wins game one and Golden State series. The Warriors are chalk here for a reason. And it's going to take something special from Toronto to beat them.
Guys, Steph Curry minus 120, Kawhi plus 100 for most points scored in the series. Obviously Curry's going to get his points, but, the one thing about the Raptors is they're really a one-man show point-wise. Marco, what do you think of Kawhi at plus 100 here?
Actually, I would think Curry, and here's the reasoning for that. As you do say, Curry is, there's more weapons on the Golden State team, so they can spread it around. But with that said, that also causes defensive problems. As far as Kawhi goes, he's going to get double teamed, and Kerr's going to come up with game plans to try to take him out of the game. So I think even with them spreading the ball around Golden State, I think Curry's going to have more opportunities for open looks to score than Kawhi is. Kawhi is going to have to work for all of his points. And on the flip side to that, Kawhi is the big factor on the other side of the floor. He has to come up big in this series defensively, and that's going to take some of the energy away. You can't burn the candle at both ends for a 7-game series. So if you ask me to take that wager, I'm on Curry.
Teddy,
yeah. Let me jump in to comment to a couple things that Marco said there real quick. Because there's a big difference between this series and any series that we've seen, and that's the rest time between games. You got extra rest before game 1, extra rest before game 2, extra rest before game 3, extra rest before game 5, extra rest before game 6, and extra rest before game 7. There's only one games, 3 and 4 that get played on 2 days rest. Everything else is extra rest, which makes a big difference. But you ask me who the most important player of this series is going to be. If Toronto's going to pull an upset.
It's Kyle Lowry.
No. Danny Green.
I'm
Where's
not.
Danny Green been this postseason? Danny Green was an absolute difference maker for San Antonio.
He's on the Raptors.
He's a starter.
I know, dude. He hit like 6 for 30 or something.
That's what I'm saying. Danny Green's been really quiet this entire postseason. I remember Danny Green having a finals to remember with San Antonio. He's capable. And if the Raptors are going to win the series, yeah, okay, you need Kawhi to do what he's done. You need Siakam to step up the way he has. You need Ibaka and Gasol to play well down low. But they need Danny Green to hit shots and get rebounds and make steals. Danny Green's got to be an MVP candidate for the series if Toronto's going to win. I firmly believe that. I don't know if an MVP candidate, but he's got to be a strong contributor for the series if Toronto's going to win.
Guys, let's bottom line this. Golden State to win in 6 plus 250. Golden State to win in 5 plus 350. If the Raps win, it's got to be in 7 plus 550. Let's just bottom line right now. Forget the odds for a second. Teddy, who's winning in what game?
Well, and it's funny because you say, well, Toronto can only win in 7. I remember the Pistons against the Lakers. And I'm not calling this the same series, but Detroit lost game 1 in OT and then won the next 4. And it was, the Lakers were a little tired and older. That this Warriors team is tired and older. But if I'm taking Toronto, I don't know if I'm taking them in 7 games. I don't know if the Raptors win in game 7. If I'm taking Toronto, I'm taking them in 5 or 6. I'll tell you flat out. But you ask me, what do I take? Warriors in 5 or 6. That's the only 2 bets to make.
Warriors in 5 plus 350, Warriors in 6 plus 250. I think you could make both those bets. I think one of them will likely happen. And with that said, obviously I'm cheering like crazy for the Raps. Marco, what do you think?
Yeah, I would agree. It looks more like Golden State and, give Toronto if Toronto, here's the thing, Toronto's got to win one of these first two. If they don't, if they go out of here, they need to win game one because the pressure is going to be on them if they start the series 0-1 against this team. This is a stage that they've never been on before. So I'm leaning Toronto game one. I don't know if I can pull the trigger on them. I'm definitely looking at the under in game one because of the factor. And to build on what Teddy said with the rested teams play good defense. And that's something to remember in this series because it is a very good point. You're going to have the extra days in between the games. This goes back to as bad or worse than round one. You know how they spread out the games in round one of the playoffs. These teams will be fresh the whole way through. So tired teams play good don't play good defense. Rested teams do. I lean to Toronto game one. I like Toronto first quarter game one, and I like the under. As far as the series go, I'm going to go ahead and say that Toronto can get one of these games. If they get one of the first two, this could go 6 games because they would have the confidence coming back here when they come back for game 5. Let's go Toronto in 6, and I'll do that only because
Toronto in 6.
Sorry, Golden State in 6. The only reason I'm going to give them the benefit of making this a 6-game series is Kawhi Leonard because he's been there and done that, and he's had history and experience all those years in San Antonio of playing against this Golden State team.
Teddy, Marco, one last question, and we'll call it a show. The over and under is 213 for game one. It's probably going to remain in that area most of the way through. Teddy, high or low scoring games?
Toronto correlates with under. I agree very much with what Marco was saying in that regard. I don't think the Raptors can hang in a higher scoring game. I know they're going to trade points with Toronto or with Golden State all night. So that's my assessment. If you like Toronto, you may want to try to maximize that with a play on the under.
Marco, and we already know you like the under. Boys, anything else to add before we call it a show?
Oh, that's it from here.
Only one red card?
Yeah, there's 2.
I'm going to get a third, so I'm trying to think of the most vulgar thing I can say, so I can just sit here the rest of the show, but I'll leave it at that.
The show is over. Thanks, boys. You're the best. Let's make sure the 3 of us do this every day, starting in September.
Teddy, we making enough to put up with him every day?
No comment.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you for Morning Joe and the Pro with Ralph Michaels on Thursday to actually discuss Game 1. Later, boys.